Welcome to the Shreveport Connection with Tommy. This video is on your Monday Night Raw results and Superstar spoilers. I think I did the Superstars already on SmackDown video. Did them out of order this week. Anyways, here's the news. WWE Hall of Famer Ric Flair was spotted by .NET reader Jonathan Pitts, who was at the Raw show at the Bilo Center. And at the site of the TV event, Ryback was scheduled for appearance at a merchandise trailer prior to Raw. However, Jonathan noted that the appearance was canceled due to the bombing in Boston. Jonathan also spotted the man mentioned in the Raw spoiler story earlier today on the WWE website. Most importantly, our thoughts and prayers go out to everyone affected by the bombing from the Boston Marathon. And former WWE World Heavyweight Champion Christian had received a medical clearance to return to the ring, as reported in last week's show. There's no word yet to when he will actually return to TV, as he's been out of action since last summer with a shoulder injury. Former WWE and TNA wrestler Sean DeVary finished in 4th place in the Gopher State Classic Bodybuilding competition that was held in Minnesota during the WrestleMania 29 weekend. By finishing in the top 5, DeVary is now eligible to compete at the National NPC Bodybuilding event. DeVary is still taking pro wrestling indie bookings via SeanDeVary.com. That means you can contact him direct. Congratulations to DeVary, who is just lucky that I was too busy with WrestleMania coverage to compete against him. It may not look good with my shirt on, much less my shirt off, but I have lost a lot of weight. But that's only so I can lull the competition into a false sense of security. Let the record show that I am currently unbeaten in bodybuilding competitions, since I don't have any. Granted, I have never actually entered a competition before, but that doesn't matter. Here's a pic. There was a pic of DeVary from the show on a couple of dirt sheets. Now do the search for bodybuilder Jason Powell and compare yourself. Compare for yourself. Okay, I'm not Jason Powell either. I'm Tommy Kern, as you can see me live. But this just goes to show you how jacked those of us are who share these powerful names. Former WWE Diva Maria Kanellis spoke with Slam Wrestling about rumored Divas match that never materialized on WrestleMania 29 cards. And she quoted by saying, I did get contacted by WWE at the end of January, beginning of February. Something like that. For about a month, I was in talks with WWE. As she said, we talked about contract. I had no problem with anything that was in the contract. But about a month after, they called back and said that they weren't moving forward with the storyline. Read the full interview at slam.canoe.ca. Maria continued to address the rumors that the other divas asked for her to be pulled from her WrestleMania plans and said that she would love to return to WWE if she wasn't tied up with any other project. Today, the official website of WWE finds out what the dog-faced gremlin Rick Steiner is up to. The latest installment of Where Are They Now? Following the closure of World Championship Wrestling in 2001, a brief stint in Japan shortly thereafter, Steiner returned to another industry he had started on the side during the mid-1990s with his other known wrestling partner, the Big Boss Man, Ray Traylor. Well, that was real estate in the real estate business. Today, the celebrated tag team wrestler runs Rick Steiner and Associates, a real estate firm that deals in both commercial and residential property. And here's a rumor. Here's what they're building as they're saying. Anything that has dirt or block or mortar, we can buy it or sell it. Says Steiner. In addition to his real estate business, the former tag team standout sits on the Cherokee County Board of Education. The last thing I thought I'd be doing in my life was being on the school board, as Steiner said. The opportunity arose when retiring board member leaving his post recommended Steiner to take his seat for the rest of the term. He, however, acknowledges that the transition from wrestler to board member was difficult. For 20 years, I played a character, said Steiner. This was one of the first times I actually had to be myself. There's no retake or retrying again. It was a real deal. I'm responsible for the school system that has 40,000 kids. The decisions I make involve a lot of kids and their futures. Steiner also recalls his introduction into the professional wrestling industry and the various tops through his career. And you can read more or find out more on WWE.com. Former TNA personality Johnny Fairplay announced on Twitter that he is officially divorced from his former WWE Tough Enough contestant Michelle Dayton. The couple has a 5-year-old daughter together, as Fairplay tweeted on Monday. I also have a 5-year-old daughter. He's quoted by saying, officially divorced. Let the party begin. He's even got there was a picture that was posted on one of the dirt sheets that had, I guess that was the divorce papers. It looked like a regular notepad, a note to me. He just says, let the party begin. Well, Tommy Dreamer posted on Twitter, wow, I just got a part in a TV series. I auditioned weeks ago for it. I didn't think I got the part, but cool. Starts shooting in Brooklyn tomorrow. Doesn't say what the name of the TV series is. Courtesy of Evil Zebra, as you can see by the new homepage at the Castle. You can see it at sports.groups.yahoo.com/group/Evil Zebra. We are proud to announce the wrestling debut of Miss Dark Shadow as she steps into the squared circle on May 31st at the Charlestown Civic Center in Charlestown, Indiana, with wrestling legend Candy Devine. Who is Miss Dark Shadow, you ask? Well, she just happens to be the oldest daughter of one of the good friends of GloryCon. It was a dinner date, Wall of Fame member, Lady Vendetta. And if that's not enough, her father also happens to be the one and only Madman Pondo. Funny thing, Candy Devine was also the same person that Lady Vendetta had her ring debut match with. Inside the Ropes Radio with Scott Hall. The show airs on Thursday nights at 10 p.m. Available at Inside the Ropes, pod.podbean.com. Hall on being top guy in WWE today, and his son Cody going there. I don't get to watch a lot of WWE, but through this internet thing, some people comment about a guy becoming the world champ or the U.S. champ, and a couple of weeks later, he's down the card in the opening match. I think that kills the image of being a top guy, but I guess the promoters, the guys in the WWE, calling the shots and saying it like, we're giving you a chance, and if you don't produce, and back down you go. I've talked to Cody about it a lot, and he's in no hurry to go there. He'd rather be seasoned and polished before he makes a move like that. What he and Kevin Nash knew the night of the bash at the beach from 1996, we had no idea who it was going to be. The whole third guy thing came in by accident. I remember Kev and I called Brett and I spoke to him. Kev spoke to him, and we told him it was really fun working at WCW. It was really laid back, guaranteed money. It was easy. So we're used to being in a Shark Tank in New York. Coming to Atlanta was like being in a country club. It was really tame in the locker room in WCW compared to New York. We told Brett he should come down. Bischoff was interested. He was offering him a pretty sweet deal, but Brett wasn't interested. We wanted it to be Hulk. But Hulk had creative control of his contract, so he didn't have to have anything he didn't want to do. He went to the ring. He hadn't even met Hulk yet. They hadn't even met Hulk yet. Met him briefly at WrestleMania 9, but didn't know Hulk. We actually went to the ring in Daytona, and Hogan wasn't even there yet. He was on a jet flying across country from shooting a movie. Bischoff wanted it to be Hulk. But before we went out, Bischoff told us, if Hulk doesn't show, I'm gonna send out Sting. So Sting would have been in the NWO. How we got clean with Dallas Page. I didn't have any purpose in my life. My goal had been to be a top star in wrestling, and I did that. Then I thought the natural progression would be working in that office, but it didn't happen. I had a little heart episode about 7 weeks ago. I ended up in the hospital in intensive care for a week. The doctor recommended, you're a freak. You're a genetic freak. Your heart is normal again. While I was there was a kid who brought me my food, and he was a big wrestling fan. And the kid kept coming back. And one time he whipped out his iPhone, and he had the before and after pics of Jake the Snake. I heard things, but never seen the pictures. I talked to Jake, and I knew things that were going to happen with Dallas Page, and that was the root of it. And I thought, do I go to rehab again, or do I try something else? Instead of treading water in rehab, I don't know what triggered it, and to be honest, I don't question it. I'm moving in the right direction finally. For the first time in so long, I'm 65 days now without alcohol or drugs. I've had longer times, but I've always been in a facility. I have no cravings, and I feel great. The advertised dark main event for Raw was John Cena and Alberto Del Rio versus Dolph Ziggler and Ryback. Is this the indication that Ryback is working full-fledged heel? I suppose we will find out on Raw. Former WWE diva Amy Lita Dumas celebrated her 38th birthday on Sunday. She was born April 14, 1975. She attended WWE Hall of Fame ceremony with CM Punk. They are dating now. Again, the late Brian Crush Adams was born April 14, 1964. He died August 13, 2007 at the age of 43. Drugs were reportedly believed to play a part in his death. Former TNA and WWE wrestler Monty Brown celebrated his 43rd birthday on April 13, he was born April 13, 1970. Brown worked as Marcus Corvone in WWE. He retired from pro wrestling in 2007 because he became a dad to his niece. Former WWE wrestler Mo, a.k.a. Robert Lawrence Horn, formerly of Men on a Mission fame, turned 49 on Saturday. He was born April 13, 1964. The late Stan Stasiak, a.k.a. George Stippick, was born April 13, 1937. He died June 19, 1997. His son, Sean, also worked for WWE. The following wrestlers are scheduled to appear at Lucha Libre's USA Live event at Citizens Bank Arena in Ontario, California on April 14th. How many of these names do you know? Blue Demon Jr., Solar, Mr. Aguila, Lismark Jr., Supernova, Psychosis, Super Crazy, Melina, R.J. Brewer, and The Right what? I don't know. Shane Hurricane Helms, Mini Park, Paprino Halloween, El Nuevo Macho, Celestial, and Vladimiro. Holy crap, Batman, a six-sided ring. Guess you won't see Hulk Hogan there. And now for your Raw results from USA Network from Greenville, South Carolina at the Bilo Center. Raw will open up with a recap that focus on Ryback attacking John Cena to close last week's show, and CM Punk making his return for Raw for the first time since WrestleMania 29. Coleslaw introduced the show, with joined on commentary by Jerry the King Lawler and JBL. Randy Orton and Sheamus versus Big Show in a handicap match. It was all cheers for the entrances of Orton and Sheamus. Both men wanted to start the match. They settled on Sheamus. Show and Sheamus fought back and forth for the first 4 minutes and 30 seconds of the match. Orton took a hot tag for Sheamus and traded punches with Show and then put him down with a drop kick. Orton caught Show on the rope and then performed a hanging DDT from there. Orton played to the live crowd and struck the Viper's pose. He went for the RKO, but Show pushed him off and then grabbed him by the throat. Sheamus caught Show with a brogue kick, and then Orton hit the RKO and pinned Show. And Randy Orton and Sheamus defeated Big Show in a handicap match, 6 minutes. Really ought to see the handicap match on SmackDown, and now Raw, when both babyfaces defeated Big Show in countless singles matches over the years. I'm really not sure where they're heading with this. It's good to see JBL back on Raw. The King is a lovable character and all, but he doesn't bring much to commentary these days. He's a nice complimentary player on the three-man team, but he just doesn't hold up his end to a two-man team these days. Highlights here from Friday's SmackDown TV show of The Shield surrounding Triple H in the ring, which led to 3 and B going after The Shield. only to be destroyed. Backstage, the 3MB members said that they were going to the ring to call out the Shield. Bad mistake. After the break, 3MB was doing their air guitar routine when the fans booed. JBL said they have lost their ever-loving minds by planning to call out the Shield. Heath Slater said they were going after Triple H last week, but the Shield beat them to it. Drew McIntyre asked for a handwritten apology. Brock Lesnar's music played, and he walked onto the stage without Paul Heyman. The fans popped. Lesnar entered the ring and threw Slater over the top rope. Lesnar clotheslined McIntyre and then performed an overhead belly-to-belly on Jinder Mahal. Lesnar performed an F5 on McIntyre. Slater teased getting back inside the ring, but he thought better of it. Slater tried to run away, but Lesnar caught him at ringside with a clothesline. Lesnar picked him up and F5 Slater onto the barricade at ringside. He picked him up and again performed a move again. Paul Heyman had run out by this point. No more, Heyman pleaded. The fans chanted, "One more time." Lesnar looked to the crowd and smiled. Heyman talked him out of it, and the two of them entered the ring. "I told you last week my client is ready for a fight," Heyman said. "And the fight that my client wants and demonstrated a message to everyone tonight is against Triple H." Heyman said that Triple H did something that no man has ever done and ever pulled off. He apologized to Lesnar for saying in front of him that Triple H knocked out Lesnar. Heyman said that that makes Hunter a fighter and a hell of a man. Heyman said that if Triple H was in the building, he would shake his hand, look him in the eye, and tell him that he respects him for what he did in WrestleMania. The live crowd chanted for Triple H. Heyman said he knows that the fans feel the same way he does, but unfortunately Brock Lesnar does not share his opinion, so now we have a problem. Heyman said he noted that Triple H merely evened the score. There can only be one dominant alpha male in the WWE universe, he said. Heyman then said that they could solve this problem at Extreme Rules. Heyman proposed a match in which a knockout man will be shown no mercy and will be victimized. Heyman said it was time to get barbaric in a match where skin can be ripped away from bone at any second. It's time to get extreme, Heyman said. Heyman said Brock wants to face Triple H in an old-school cage match. Heyman said they had two words for Triple H. Challenge issued, he concluded, to highlight the narrative of Lesnar destroying 3MB members. Colsaw questioned whether Triple H would accept a match. He also hyped Ryback, explaining why he attacked John Cena last week. A split screen showed Antonio Cesaro and Kofi Kingston walking backstage to set up their match. A lot of hype today. They would meet for the U.S. Championship after the break. Heath Slater earned his paycheck tonight. Damn, those bumps on the barricade were vicious. I like the idea of Brock getting his win back to even the record, assuming that that's where it's going. First 30 minutes of the show was strong. I like the way that they went right to a match to start off the show instead of the 20 minutes of BS, mumbling and jumbling. And the unadvertised appearance of Lesnar, it's odd that there was no acknowledgement at the top of the show regarding the bombings in Boston, but give it time. I can't imagine Boston area native John Cena appearing without addressing it. Then a graphic noted that WWE hosted 35 Make-A-Wish families from 14 different states and 5 different countries at WrestleMania 29, which is absolutely awesome. Match number 2, Antonio Cesaro versus Kofi Kingston for the U.S. title. Also noted that Kingston beat Cesaro in a non-title match on SmackDown last week to earn the title shot. JBL noted that Cesaro has been champion for 240 days. Cesaro yodeled as he walked to the ring. As the show goes to commercial break, with Cesaro in control at 2 minutes 45 seconds. Wow, Cesaro is a mountain climber from The Price is Right. After the break, the Olay chant started briefly. Kingston caught Cesaro with a Trouble in Paradise kick, but it knocked Cesaro out of the ring and down to the floor. Kingston pushed Cesaro back inside the ring and covered him for a 2 count. Kofi went to the ropes and dove at Cesaro, who caught him and slammed him for a good 2 count of his own. Kingston came back with a kick and then went for a springboard move off the ropes. Cesaro caught him again, but Kofi rolled him up for a 2 count. Kingston caught Cesaro with another Trouble in Paradise kick and pinned him clean. After the match, Josh Matthews interviewed Kingston in the ring. Kofi said he brought the U.S. Championship back home. Kofi won in 9 minutes 25 seconds to become the United States champion. Some of the dirt sheets was their Intercontinental Championship. Back home to Ghana, West Africa. CM Punk might be the only WWE performer in recent memory who didn't dropped the title shortly after the broadcast team mentioned how many days he'd been champion. The match was very good, but it's hard to get excited about A, Kofi Kingston winning another secondary championship. B, a secondary championship in general, after all abuse of those titles took during WrestleMania season. A really good ad for the new McFoley DVD that comes out. It should be already out now by now. As they go to commercial, WrestleMania 30 in New Orleans commercial aired. The announcer spoke at ringside about the Money in the Bank briefcase and set up footage of Dolph Ziggler using it to capture the main championship. The shot aired of Ziggler, AJ, and Biggie Langston walking backstage. Ring announcer Justin Roberts introduced Dolph Ziggler as the new World Heavyweight Champion. Ziggler, Lee, and Langston headed to the ring along with him. Side by side, Ziggler boasted about his greatness and how he said he is just too good. He said some of the fans may boo, but that's fine, I don't care. He stressed which drew more boos. Ziggler said that when someone scores a TD in an NFL game, they were showing off. He said showing off is what you do when you're better than everybody else. And I back it up every single night. Ziggler said he spoke about the perks of being champion and kissed AJ. Alberto Del Rio's music played, and he comes out with a Ricardo Rodriguez, and they're headed to the ring. Del Rio had his leg taped to sell his injury, as Ricardo was still on crutches. Del Rio said he was there to invoke his rematch clause. I want my rematch right here in Greenville, he said, and I want it right now. Ziggler mocked him by saying, yeah, right. He pointed out to Del Rio's injury. And we get Miss Pinky Guerrero doing the excuse me bit and announced the match was starting immediately. A referee entered the ring and the wrestlers prepared themselves. But just as the match was about to start, Swagger's entrance music interrupts. And we get Swagger and Zeb Coulter coming out, and Coulter spoke as they headed to ringside. Coulter said Ziggler doesn't deserve to be champion because Swagger was responsible for injuring Del Rio last week. Coulter said Del Rio doesn't deserve a rematch. Swagger entered the ring and was quickly cleared by Del Rio. However, Swagger grabbed Del Rio's bad leg and wrapped it around ring post twice. Swagger applied the Patriot Lock on the floor. A trainer, a referee, and Ricardo checked on Del Rio. A shot aired of Daniel Bryan and Kane walking backstage. Lawler said that they would be in action after the break. Looks like they're setting up triple threat match with Ziggler, Swagger, and Del Rio. Then again, last week, it looked like WWE was setting up a triple threat match with John Cena versus Ryback versus Mark Henry. Meanwhile, I hope WWE doesn't play up the bitter Vicky Guerrero routine too much now that Dolph is champion. Highlights aired of the previous segment. Backstage, a trainer checked on Del Rio, who continued to sell his knee injury. Introductions for the 4,227,348 Team Hell No versus Primetime Players match. The players have t-shirts with their hair picked on the front. Also announced that The Undertaker will team with Kane and Daniel Bryan to face the Shield on the London Raw next week. Match number 3, WWE Champions. Team Hell No, Kane and Daniel Bryan versus Primetime Players, a non-title match. Bryan Daniel kicked to start the match. Lawler brought up Pancake Patterson again. The crowd was flat and players had a run of offense at Bryan's expense. Kane and Bryan came back. Kane chokeslammed Darren Young. And then Bryan finished him off with a top rope headbutt. Kane and Daniel Bryan won in 3 minutes 30 seconds. And announcers hyped Ryback's explanation for after break again. Commercial. WWE should just air reruns of previous Kane and Daniel Bryan versus Primetime Players matches with new commentary. As for Taker, I'm surprised that they didn't even make a bigger fuss over him working a Raw match. The night is young, but that should be treated like a major event. JBL hyped it after the match, but they just didn't go far enough with it. I'm surprised they didn't do an angle with the Shield and Team Hell No that concluded with Kane making the big announcement regarding Taker returning to the ring on Raw. Slow motion highlights aired of Ryback attacking Mark Henry and then John Cena at the end of last week's Raw. Ryback stood in a dark area backstage and said WrestleMania 29 was the best night of John Cena's career and the worst night of his own career. He said Cena found redemption and was on the top of the world while he was on the bottom. Ryback said that there was only one place for them to go. Ryback up, Cena down. Ryback said that there must be so many questions running through Cena's head. He said Cena saw it in his eyes before he took his head off last week. Ryback questioned what choice he had. He said he was staring up the bottom of the ladder, or starting up the bottom of the ladder after WrestleMania, and that wasn't going to happen. Ryback said Cena helped him out by endorsing him and giving him his title shot last year. He said Cena made him feel like he belonged. He said Cena promised him he would always have his back. Well, it's obvious to me now that his friendship with John Cena is nothing more than a promise of living in the shadow of John Cena, as Ryback said. He told John Cena to say hello to his kryptonite. He questioned how many times Cena left him hanging. He looked back on his TLC match. There's highlights aired of the lights going out and the Shield performing a triple power bomb on him. You said I could trust you, and you said you had my back, said Ryback. 6 times, John. 6 times I was attacked by the Shield. Where were you? Designing your latest T-shirt? Where were you? Ryback said it 3 times, and Cena was attacked. He was there every time. Ryback said Cena was focused on winning the WWE Championship. He said Cena got lucky at the Royal Rumble as footage was shown of Cena eliminating him to win the match. He said Cena left him alone at the Elimination Chamber to fend off the Shield. And as footage aired of Cena failing to break up the pinfall that ended that 6-man tag match. Ryback said he sat in the back watching Cena making his jokes like no one else deserved to be there. I sat in the back and waited for you to say something to admit that you were only there because I wasn't. Ryback said he is stepping out of Cena's shadows and is the biggest threat to Cena's title reign ever. Ryback rules as he closed the segment. A wise call to have Ryback deliver the pre-taped backstage promo rather than the attempting to do it in front of a live crowd. The logic was believable from Ryback's perspective, yet not strong enough that Cena fans will side with him. Ryback didn't play to the fans in any way during the promo, but he didn't badmouth them either. The attack would have been more effective if we had seen more of Ryback and Cena together as friends before the split, but we can still enjoy it. Highlights there to Brock Lesnar attacking 3MB earlier in the show, and Paul Heyman challenging Triple H on Lesnar's behalf. Match number 4, Intercontinental Champion Wade Barrett versus R-Truth of non-title. Also hyped that there will be a 10-man battle royal on WWE main event with the winner challenging Wade Barrett for the Intercontinental title. Later in the match, Truth avoided a slam and then came back with a DDT for the 3 count. R-Truth defeated Wade Barrett in a non-title match 3 minutes 10 seconds. So, what we going to have? A title change with R-Truth on SmackDown? Well, we'll just have to wait and see. I guess the idea is to make Barrett look vulnerable heading into the title defense on WWE main event. After all those WrestleMania season losses, the only way Barrett could look more vulnerable is if he was chained up by Deputy Zach Shelby's basement. Backstage segment, Vicky Guerrero and Brad Maddox were talking when Teddy Long entered the room. He had set up Dolph Ziggler versus Jack Swagger for later in the show. Vicky asked if Booker was aware of it. I don't know, Teddy said. Vicky said she liked it, and they told Maddox to go tell people about it. And the announcers then hyped Fandango as they go to commercial break. Match number 5, Cody Rhodes and Damien Sandow. Rhodes Scholars versus Santino Marella and Great Khali. Sandow cut a promo on the way to the ring in which he quoted a philosopher. Cody's mustache chimed in about something. Sandow called South Carolina a den of ignorance. Late in the match, Santino set up for the Cobra and connected on Sandow. Rhodes tried to interfere and then left the ring. Hornswoggle hit him with a mini Cobra, but Cody no-sold it. Khali punched Cody inside the ring. Sandow rolled up Santino and won the match for his team. So Rhodes Scholars defeated the Great Santino in 3 minutes 20 seconds. Graphic hype that Fandango would be next. The announcers questioned whether the fans of South Carolina would be Fandangoing as they go to commercial. So was Jesse Roberts or was someone else giving the crowd a pep talk about the Fandango theme, or will they just let it happen? Or not, organically. And Lawler stood in the ring and set up the video package that showed all attention the Fandango theme song had received. They included the Houston, Texans cheerleaders. Hedda showed a fan of videos, etc. Back in the ring, Lawler played Fandango as the first man to debut at WrestleMania and win. Fandango and his female dancer made their entrance. They did their dance routine and the big Fandango logo appeared behind them. The live crowd was playing along. There was some singing the song, but most people stood there silently once the music stopped. Lawler tried to interview Fandango, who cut him off and asked him how his hips were feeling. Fandango asked him if he could move his hips. Fandango's theme song started singing and picked up a little bit more momentum in the crowd. Fandango asked the crowd who wanted to go Fandangoing with him. Do you people want to go Fandangoing? Do you? Yes. He looked to two different sides of the building and asked, how about you people right here? Fandango said before they could do that, he needed the fans to pronounce his name correctly. He walked through saying his name. He corrected them a couple of times and then led them through saying it. There were some cheers. He paused as the singing of his song picked up a little more momentum. It stopped when Fandango told them that it was quite obvious they couldn't pronounce his name correctly, so you can all go Fandango yourself. As he said, and the singing song played again, and the cameras focused on the fans who were singing the song and doing the dance. A flat follow-up. Roberts didn't give the crowd a pep talk, but that's pretty much what Jerry Lawler said. Something tells me that the live crowd will be a lot more into it next week in London. Backstage segment, Matt Striker interviewed John Cena, who was back wearing his black t-shirt because the white one was hideous. Cena cut off Striker and said he's not so hard to find and that he will be ready to handle his business face-to-face, man-to-man. Jack Swagger and Zeb Colter headed to the ring for the match against Dolph Ziggler. Commercial. And when they come back, highlight there to the Alberto Del Rio injury angle from earlier in the show. Match number 6, World Heavyweight Champion Dolph Ziggler with AJ and Big E versus Jack Swagger with Zeb Colter in a non-title match. Ziggler slammed Swagger and then ran away from him. Swagger followed and then Ziggler attacked him. When he re-entered the ring, Swagger came back with a big boot to the face of Ziggler. Swagger was in control, headed into a commercial break. After the break, the crowd kicked back as the wrestlers fought. In the end, Swagger had Ziggler up in a powerbomb position, but when Ziggler threw repeated punches at his head, Swagger dropped him backwards onto the top rope and then pinned him clean. Afterward, Del Rio hobbled onto the stage and attacked Swagger. Del Rio applied the crossarm breaker on Swagger while sitting on the stage. Well, Swagger defeated Dolph Ziggler in the non-title match in 9 minutes 50 seconds. So that should be setting up the match. Automatic rematch along with the non-title match winning for the title shot. So we get the World Heavyweight Championship. There's a secondary title too now that Ziggler has it. Don't worry, folks. Del Rio's injured leg isn't serious enough to prevent him from smiling like the politicians. The announcer spoke at ringside about the Rock's injury. It included Rock's updates by Twitter. The announcers hyped that Cena called out Ryback for a face-to-face confrontation. A shot aired of CM Punk and Paul Heyman walking backstage together. Backstage, Matt Striker tried to interview Sheamus. Mark Henry attacked Sheamus and then left him lying because that's what he does. I guess Henry's character just took himself out of the WWE title picture for a pointless feud with Sheamus. Well, and then we get CM Punk's entrance music played as he walked to the ring with Paul Heyman. The announcers noted that the injury Punk suffered with his leg hit the side of the table during his match with Undertaker. Punk paused before saying that for 434 days, as WWE Champion, he couldn't enjoy the ride because he was always looking around the corner to what was next. Punk said the WWE Championship meant the world to him. He wanted the next challenge, and that was The Rock. He said that he battled someone who will arguably go down as one of the greatest superstars of all time. He looked ahead and wanted to know what the next hurdle was. I looked to the one thing that could possibly be bigger than the championship I love so much, and that one thing could be bigger than The Rock, and that was taking down the streak at WrestleMania, as Punk said. And I took The Undertaker to the limit. Punk put his head down for a moment. dueling Undertaker and CM Punk chant started on the crowd as Punk stood silently. Punk stood over Heyman and they hugged him and then hugged him before leaving the ring. Punk headed up the ramp while Heyman stood in the ring with a surprised look on his face. Punk stopped short of the stage and instead exited on the floor through a side area. As they go to commercial break, an ad for SmackDown focus on Dolph Ziggler winning the World Heavyweight Championship. An interesting segment with Punk that will leave viewers asking many questions. Did he leave WWE or what? What's next for him? For all those fans who chalked up the lack of fandangoing tonight due to the crowd being dead, now what's the excuse after hearing the loud Punk and Taker chant? Backstage, Booker T told Teddy Long he has to consult with him before he books matches. Teddy told him that Swagger is now the number one contender. Booker said that Del Rio may be injured and can't compete, but that only means he can't compete tonight. Booker said Swagger and Del Rio would get a championship match in a triple threat at Extreme Rules. The only way that Raw and SmackDown could possibly be better is if there were 6 authority figures instead of 4. Match number 7, WWE Divas Champion Kaitlyn versus Nikki Bella with Brie at her side in a non-title match. The live crowd did their best way to stay awake as the two women have been given little reason to care about did battle. The Bellas actually did twin magic and Brie got the win for her sister. And the match took 5 minutes and 10 seconds. A shot aired of Ryback walking backstage as they go to commercial. So, all of you who were saying the live crowd wasn't so bad after those Punk and Taker chants, now what? Wait, never mind. Anyway, there's apparently no reason for women to tell the referees, my eyes are up here. The ref also missed the fact that Nikki's fishnets were torn while Bree's looked like they were straight out of the egg or whatever fishnets they come from, or wherever fishnets come from. Cole saw hype Randy Orton and Sheamus versus Mark Henry and Big Show for Friday's SmackDown TV show. John Cena makes his entrance. The women and kids love him. Well, except for one kid with poor enough fashion sense to purchase that wretched white shirt that Cena wore last week. The champ is here. Cena started. And the Ryback is there pointing at stage. And the champ has a little business with Ryback. So the Ryback, get right here, right now. Ryback's entrance played. And he makes his entrance to a no reaction. Ryback entered the ring and went face to face with Cena. Once Ryback was in the ring, there was a small Phoebe Moore chant. Cena said the WWE Universe knows that when they hear Phoebe Moore, someone is about to get hurt. Cena said he should be shaking his boots and wetting his khakis. But he's not. For some reason, the camera cut away momentarily and showed the Shield stretching out. Oops. Cena mocked Ryback for blaming him for everything in his earlier promo. You want this? Cena said of the championship. He said Ryback knocked him down once and claimed he is the biggest threat to the WWE Championship. Do you know who you are dealing with, Jack? As Cena said. I didn't know his name was Jack. Jack Ryback? Okay. Cena said he's been to war with Randy Orton, Triple H, and Shawn Michaels. And those are just his friends. He said even though they are friends, they beat the hell out of each other because the WWE Championship is everything. I understand actually exactly what you did last week. I just don't like how you did it. Cena said Ryback lacked the 2 most important things to be a champion, the space between his ears and a piece between his legs. The crowd cheered that line. Lawler quietly asked the other announcers if they saw what he saw earlier. I know what I saw, he said. Ryback continued standing in the ring while Cena told him that they could do things a little different this week. Cena removed his t-shirt and got in Ryback's face before saying this week Ryback should make a move and see if he has what it takes to earn a championship. They glared at one another. Ryback turned around and left the ring and received some boos from the fans. Momentarily, as the Shield's music played, I knew that was what I saw. Lawler said. JBL said it was 2-on-3. Both Cena and Ryback were in trouble. The Shield made their way to the ringside and climbed the barrier. Ryback remained in the entranceway while Cena stood in the ring. The Shield members kept an eye on Ryback. The trio eventually entered the ring and attacked Cena. He fought back, but the Shield outnumbered him. Ryback remained motionless at ringside as the Shield members put the boots to Cena. The boos for Ryback grew. Once the Shield stopped beating on the fallen Cena, Ryback turned and headed up the ramp. Ryback stopped on the top of the stage and looked back to the ring. The Shield set up Cena and put him down with a triple power bomb. Ryback stood expressionless on the stage, and the Shield members put their hands together to celebrate their attack on the WWE Champion. A one more time chant broke out in the crowd. Funny, Ryback headed backstage while the Shield members stood over Cena to close the show. Ryback is heel for sure. He probably won't be a heel to the adult male since he's feuding with Cena. Ryback's obvious explanation is that Cena didn't help him out, so now he's returned the favor. The big negative is that Cena continued to turn his back on Ryback. It just sends the wrong message when he's not afraid to turn his back on the unpredicted monster heel. I'm also very surprised that WWE didn't have Cena address the bombings in Boston. Overall, this was an odd show as WWE tried too hard to get Fandango's theme song over. Or maybe it's a reverse psychology. Had Dolph Ziggler lose 1 week after winning the World Heavyweight Championship, and had Wade Barrett lose 1 week after regaining the Intercontinental title. That can't get to London quickly enough, as the live crowd will be rowdy enough to make just about anything they do feel important. Unlike much of this show, after the show went off the air, Team Hell No came out for the Dark Match main event featuring John Cena, Kane, and Daniel Bryan versus The Shield. The match finished, the same finish the WWE has been running for a while now, with Seth Rollins hitting Cena with a chair, resulting in a disqualification and a win for Cena and Team Hell No. Following the bout, Cena hit the Attitude Adjustment on Dean Ambrose, Kane chokeslam Rollins, and then Daniel Bryan hit a chokeslam on Roman Reigns. That ended the show. And there's some more to that in just a moment. Vince McMahon was the one who came up with the idea of having Antonio Cesaro drop the United States title this week to Kofi Kingston on Raw. And his main reason for the title change was to keep up the Raw momentum coming out of WrestleMania, but there are rumblings that Cesaro has upset someone and is in the doghouse. That's the title loss. With that being said, both Kofi and Cesaro were praised backstage for their match on Raw. WWE DVD News.com reports that the following matches are confirmed for WWE's War Games DVD that comes out in June. Ultimate Jeopardy Steel Cage match from ECW CyberSlam 1999, which contains the Dudleys and Mustafa versus New Jack, Axel Rotten, and Balls Mahoney. War Games from WCW Fall Brawl 1997. Kevin Nash, Sean Waltman, Conan, and Buff Bagwell. That's the NWO when they were beginning to do the split with Black and White. Versus the Four Horsemen. Ric Flair, Chris Benoit, Kurt Hennig, and Steve Bongo McMichael. Oh, Four Horsemen with Kurt Hennig. Okay. And WWE has changed plans for the proposed Booker T heel turn, and now the plan is for Teddy Long to turn. Teddy is expected to become the new heel general manager of SmackDown, and they kind of showed some of that with the miscommunication on Raw. And thanks to the partial source, F4WOnline.com. And that concludes my results for this week on Raw this week. Catch your superstars spoilers on the SmackDown video. Thanks again. Peace out.